It's August 19th, 2021. I found this movie that I've never even heard of before. I was flipping through the channels. It's called Sicario. Apparently Sicario is something in Spanish that's hitman. So then I'm thinking, I'm like, right, okay, so now that came out in 2015, although it references 2018. My Google and the Verizon has conflicting results. So then I'm going back over the tracks of yesterday that I laid, best I can, and best I can remember about broken glass. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh crap. I was like, all right, so this is like the human level of drug cartel, the border, something called ICE. I'm like, I'm a French in the French and Indian War. I was like, oh, these Native American shitbags. I was like, I'm Vene ici. I mean, Creole knows what I'm talking about. But it's ice spelled with two I's. So I'm like, all right, so broken glass. I was like, oh shit. So I go in and I talk to Anthony, 1975. I go, listen, I was like, you're my expert on street drugs and lingo. I was like, I referenced yesterday something for airspace or aerodynamic space, whatever I do. I was like, I gotta cross reference this. Is there some street drug called that they reference associated with glass? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, what? And he's like, meth. No, he said crystal. I'm like, oh, and what crystal? All right, you say crystal. I'm thinking like holding rocks of crystal, but like the kind where whatever from cavernous elsewhere. I was like, what crystal? I was like, that's the one. Crystal's the one that they say meth, right? I'm chasing my construct. I'm like, all right, so it's glass, crystal, meth. I was like, but it's not the meth because there's some methadone that puts them out to sleep. It's methamphetamine, correct? That's the one that perks them up? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, great, thank you for that piece of information. It's like Alice in Wonderland. If I drink this, I grow really big and tall. And if I eat this one, then I get really, really small. I think we referenced that in the Walt Disney movie about my appearance in this humanness. But it hasn't changed. An ant would be like the caterpillar on the mushroom smoking some whatever. That would be his function in all of this. He's useful for the stuff that you don't want your kids to know about. And my parents don't know, so they didn't teach me, but he's like a living reference manual at this point, for odd facts, and then for me to weave his area of human understanding and mine, my alien understanding. So now when I reference glass yesterday, while it might be beneficial and helpful to something in between at agency level, it's not what I was referencing. I was actually referencing the breaking of the space-time continuum and the breaking of the it's not like a business like dinner bell to call to action all shitbags and their families from elsewhere to like charge in. It actually tectonically displaces more weight and more distribution and more problematic areas, which then puts more pressure on the dome, DOME, which is the sky above, which cracks, like Chicken Little, like the sky is falling. Yeah, no, the sky's not falling like you think it's falling. It's just cracking like broken glass, and I can see the cracks. Especially when lightning strikes, it really shows which way the whole dome is wired at the moment. It's just your humanness unaware of it and always thinking like, where, next contest, next business deal. No, no, we're not rushing the Capitol. We're not doing the homicide, suicide, genocide squad. I got real big things that I gotta speak to somebody important about, but I just have no access in this disgusting version of humans. I'm in Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.